When disaster strikes, it's not always the storm, the blackout, or the chaos that poses the greatest threat. It's the people around you. In times of crisis, desperation makes ordinary neighbors turn into opportunists, and the moment they realize you're a prepper, your supplies become their lifeline. That's why OPSEC, operational security, isn't just a military term, it's a survival essential. Prepping isn't only about storing food, water, or fuel. It's about protecting the knowledge that you have them. Most preppers make the mistake of thinking secrecy ends with locked doors and hidden shelves, but exposure often happens in subtle, everyday ways. A delivery here, a conversation there, a flicker of light during a blackout. All it takes is one clue for your neighbors to connect the dots, and once they do, you're no longer just the quiet person down the street. You're the one with what everyone else needs. This video dives into the 10 biggest signs that reveal your prepper status without you realizing it, because in survival, invisibility is power, and the key to keeping your stockpile, your security, and your safety intact lies in one rule: stay prepared, but never be obvious about it. The delivery trail. When packages reveal your secrets, prepping is supposed to be a private affair, a personal safety net built quietly behind closed doors. But in today's world of doorstep deliveries and watchful neighbors, even the act of stocking up can betray your intentions. Every time a truck unloads bulk food, water containers, or survival gear, it leaves behind a breadcrumb trail that points straight to your prepping habits. The neighbors may not say it out loud, but they notice patterns: repeated shipments, heavy boxes marked with survival brands, or frequent courier visits. In their eyes, it's not just a delivery, it's evidence. The biggest mistake many preppers make is assuming no one is paying attention. But in suburban neighborhoods, curiosity thrives. A stack of large boxes on the porch can spark questions like, what are they buying every week? Or why do they need so many supplies? And once people start wondering, they start talking. That small spark of curiosity can quickly spread, turning your quiet prepping into public knowledge. The solution lies in stealth and strategy. Spread out your orders, use different suppliers, and avoid bulk shipments that draw attention. Whenever possible, opt for unmarked or neutral packaging and pick up certain items yourself rather than having them delivered. Even requesting no branded boxes from suppliers can help reduce visibility. If deliveries are unavoidable, time them when fewer people are around, early mornings or weekdays when neighbors are at work. Ultimately, the goal is to appear ordinary. A prepper who manages their supply line quietly blends in, while the one with weekly freight trucks becomes the talk of the neighborhood. Remember, every delivery you receive is more than just a box. It's a message to the world about how prepared you are. Keep that message unread. 2. The trash trap. How your garbage gives you away. You can tell a lot about someone by what they throw away. And when it comes to preppers, their trash can often say more than they realize. Those packaging boxes from bulk rice bags, dehydrated meals, or generators might seem harmless, but to an observant neighbor or sanitation worker, they're clues. Once those clues pile up, they start forming a picture, and that picture screams, this person is storing something valuable. The problem with prepping waste is that it's often unique. Not everyone discards water filtration boxes, food bucket containers, or solar battery packaging. A nosy neighbor or even just a curious passerby might glance at your garbage bins and notice the odd assortment of survival-related waste. And when a crisis hits, they'll remember who had all that emergency stuff. That memory alone can make you a target. Good OPSEC extends to how you handle what you throw away. Start by disassembling and disguising your packaging. Cut up boxes, remove logos or identifying labels, and mix survival-related waste with regular trash. Avoid putting all your prepping waste out at once. Spread it across multiple pickup days or use different bins. If possible, burn or shred sensitive materials, especially those that reveal brand names or product types. You can also minimize risk by reusing boxes for storage instead of discarding them immediately. For large items, break packaging down and dispose of it at a different location, like a community dumpster away from your home. The key is to make your trash look like everyone else's, because when disaster strikes, people who remember your interesting garbage might decide to come knocking. Remember, your trash is more public than you think. Once it's on the curb, it's an open book that anyone can read. Protecting your waste is as vital as protecting your pantry. Stealth isn't just about hiding what you own, it's about erasing the evidence that you ever bought it in the first place. 3. The light in the dark. Power that exposes you. In a neighborhood blackout, silence and darkness become the norm. But if your home stays brightly lit while others stumble in the dark, you've just made yourself the most noticeable person on the block. Having a generator, solar setup, or backup power source is a brilliant move for survival. But it also becomes a glaring signal when the rest of the world is powerless. In those moments, your light doesn't symbolize comfort, it signals resources. It's human nature to notice contrast. A single house glowing in an otherwise blacked-out street stands out like a beacon. Neighbors don't need to see inside to know what it means. They'll connect the dots instantly. They've got power. They must have supplies too. And when desperation sets in, that realization can make you a target. This doesn't mean you should go without using your generator. It means you should use it smartly and silently. First, invest in sound insulation or quieter models to reduce the obvious hum that gives you away. Second, practice light discipline. Use blackout curtains or cover windows to prevent light from escaping at night. Even small gaps can be visible from far away. Additionally, avoid running loud or power-hungry appliances during outages. Instead, ration your electricity use for essentials only. Charge batteries, keep communication lines open, and maintain basic lighting. If possible, alternate power use at odd hours, such as early mornings or late nights when fewer people are watching. A prepared person doesn't flaunt their resources, they protect them. Power during a blackout should be your secret weapon, not your public announcement. The goal is to survive the outage without standing out, because when the lights go out, the one house still shining becomes a lighthouse for desperate eyes, and that's attention no prepper can afford. 4. The open garage problem. When storage speaks louder than words. In the world of prepping, the most dangerous exposure often comes from the simplest mistake, leaving your storage visible. One open garage door, one quick peek through a window, and suddenly, your private stash becomes neighborhood knowledge. Fuel cans, propane tanks, stacked food buckets, or shelves lined with tools. These are not just supplies to the trained eye, they're signals. To the average neighbor, it might look like over-preparation. To a desperate one, it looks like an opportunity. Preppers often underestimate how observant people can be. A neighbor walking their dog, a delivery driver, or a child retrieving a ball can easily spot what you've stored. Once that image sticks, it spreads. People remember the house with those tanks, or that guy with all those cans. And when scarcity hits, those memories resurface. The solution isn't to stop storing, it's to store strategically. Keep your most vital supplies, fuel, food, medical gear, out of sight and out of pattern. Use shelves with curtains, opaque bins, or even decoy storage to disguise what's really there. Avoid labeling containers with obvious words like fuel, rice, or supplies. Instead, use neutral terms such as workshop items or equipment. Additionally, make a habit of closing your garage or shed immediately after use. It's easy to leave it open for ventilation or convenience, but that small lapse gives outsiders a look at your world. For outdoor storage, consider sheds that blend into the environment, painted in neutral tones or camouflaged with plants or fencing. Even small visual barriers like a tarp or lattice wall can obscure what's inside. Remember, visibility invites curiosity, and curiosity breeds risk. You might trust your neighbors today, but crises have a way of changing people. Hunger, fear, and desperation can make anyone remember who had what, so keep your stockpile silent and unseen. Let your garage look boring, your yard ordinary, and your storage invisible. Because in prepping, secrecy isn't paranoia, it's protection. 5. The project parade. When hardware runs raise eyebrows, most preppers are builders by nature. You're always fixing, improving, or fortifying, adding rainwater systems, building storage racks, or setting up solar panels. But those constant hardware store visits, they tell a story. When neighbors see you hauling lumber, fencing, or bags of cement week after week, they start to wonder what you're up to. And the more unusual your projects appear, the faster that curiosity turns into quiet suspicion. From their perspective, it's odd. Why is someone constantly buying construction supplies without doing visible home renovations? Why the frequent truckloads of tools and wire mesh? It's only a matter of time before they piece together the truth. You're preparing for something they're not. The trick is to blend your behavior into normalcy. Don't make your prepping projects look like fortifications. Make them look like hobbies or home improvements. If you're reinforcing windows, frame it as a renovation. Building a storage shed, call it a garden workspace. Always have a casual explanation ready that fits a non-prepper lifestyle. Vary your hardware purchases, spread them across different stores, go at different times, and avoid buying large quantities in one visit. This reduces pattern recognition. Also, reuse old materials whenever possible to cut down on visible new supplies arriving at your home. Another powerful tactic is community engagement. Occasionally help a neighbor with their repairs or share a few tools. This not only builds trust, but also makes your hardware runs appear routine and neighborly rather than secretive. The goal is to maintain a publicly normal image while privately pursuing preparedness. Because in the eyes of others, constant construction isn't just a quirk. It's a sign. And when times get hard, they'll remember the one who always seemed ready. Keep your projects discreet, your purchases varied, and your story believable. Prepping doesn't mean building walls. It means building quietly. 6. The backyard giveaway. Gardens that tell on you. Growing your own food is one of the smartest prepper moves there is. It ensures self-sufficiency, independence, and a renewable food source. But it also has one major drawback. It's visible. A thriving vegetable garden, rows of fruit trees, or the sound of clucking hens all send a clear message. You're producing food when others rely on stores. In normal times, it's a charming hobby, but in crisis times, it's a beacon of abundance surrounded by scarcity. Most people don't think much about their neighbor's tomato patch until grocery shelves go empty. Then the person with a garden becomes the one everyone envies and possibly targets. Livestock like chickens, rabbits, or goats amplify that signal. They're noisy, noticeable, and undeniably valuable when food is scarce. The challenge isn't to stop gardening. It's to disguise your self-reliance as lifestyle. Keep your garden organized but modest in appearance. Mix vegetables with flowers to make it look decorative instead of purely functional. Grow some plants in containers or inside greenhouses to reduce visibility. If you keep animals, position coops or pens behind privacy screens or natural barriers. One of the best tactics is sharing small amounts. Offer your neighbors a few tomatoes, eggs, or herbs occasionally. This makes your setup seem like a friendly hobby rather than a long-term survival plan. It builds goodwill and discourages envy. People are less likely to view you as a hoarder when they've benefited from your generosity. Finally, maintain discretion in how you talk about your garden. Don't mention how much you harvest or how many months' worth of food you can sustain. The less people know about your true output, the safer you remain. In the end, your garden is both your strength and your vulnerability. It feeds you in a crisis but can expose you if handled carelessly. So cultivate wisely, grow what you need, share just enough to blend in, and protect your food as quietly as you planted it. 7. The fortress effect. When security raises suspicion, security is at the heart of every prepper's plan. You invest in reinforced doors, sturdy locks, surveillance cameras, and perhaps even motion sensors or a fence to protect what's inside. It's logical. You're safeguarding your home and your supplies from possible threats. But from the outside, heavy security can look like something else entirely. To your neighbors, a house that resembles a mini fortress can raise eyebrows and questions like, what are they protecting in there? When your home stands out from the rest of the neighborhood, you attract the kind of attention you're trying to avoid. People start to speculate, especially if they notice changes, new locks, cameras appearing overnight, or a taller fence than before. While these upgrades make you safer, they also communicate that your property holds something worth defending. And when times get tough, that impression can make you a target instead of a mystery. The goal is to strike a balance between safety and subtlety. You want strong defenses that don't scream prepper. For example, instead of industrial fencing, use natural barriers like hedges, decorative stone walls, or wooden fences that blend into the neighborhood style. Keep your security cameras positioned for maximum coverage, but minimum visibility. Tuck them under eaves or behind ornamental lighting fixtures. Inside your home, install reinforcements discreetly. Reinforced doors can look like ordinary entryways if chosen carefully. Window security films, interior bars, or shatterproof glass provide strength without visual alarm. Consider layered security systems, motion sensors, door alarms, and smart locks, designed to protect quietly rather than advertise protection. Also, avoid discussing your security setup with anyone outside your household. The more mysterious your precautions remain, the less likely they'll draw speculation. To the casual observer, your property should appear normal, even welcoming. That's the art of blending in, being secure without seeming secretive. Remember, in a crisis, fear and curiosity drive people's actions. A home that appears overly protected can be perceived as a vault full of resources. A home that looks ordinary but is quietly fortified, that's safety in its purest form. True preparedness doesn't just defend against danger, it hides from it. 8. The loose lips trap. When conversations expose you. Not every secret is revealed through action. Some slip out through words. Many preppers, especially new ones, fall into this subtle but dangerous habit, talking too much. It starts innocently enough. You're chatting with a neighbor about rising food prices, supply shortages, or the latest storm, and before you know it, you've mentioned how you've been storing food just in case. Or maybe you casually talk about that new generator you installed, the solar system you're testing, or the water filters you've stocked. It feels harmless at the time, but each comment leaves a clue. The truth is, people listen more than they let on. Your friendly mailman, the neighbor across the fence, or even someone you barely talk to might remember those small details. And when things go bad, power outages, disasters, or supply chain breakdowns, they'll recall the one person who seemed ready. In that moment, your words turn into a map leading straight to your supplies. The best defense against this is information discipline. Practice saying less, even when conversations tempt you to share. You can discuss general preparedness topics, like home safety or gardening, without revealing specifics about your storage, supplies, or equipment. Keep your prepping as something you might think about, not something you do. Subtle deflection is your friend. When someone asks, "How are you always so calm during storms?" A simple "I just plan ahead a little" is enough. Equally important is managing online conversation. Avoid posting pictures or comments about your stockpile, equipment, or emergency setups. What's harmless on social media can quickly become a roadmap for opportunists, especially during crises. Remember, survival isn't just about food and water, it's about control of information. Every piece of knowledge you give away reduces your security. The fewer people who know what you have, the fewer you'll need to worry about when desperation sets in. Silence is power. Let your neighbors think you're just another face in the crowd. When things go wrong, those who talked will be remembered, and those who didn't will stay safe, unseen and untouched. In the world of prepping, the quiet ones survive the longest. 9. The checkout pattern. When your shopping habits tell the story, prepping often requires buying in bulk. Bags of rice, canned goods, batteries, and other long-lasting supplies that keep you secure when systems fail. But what feels normal to a prepper can look suspiciously unusual to everyone else. The truth is, your shopping cart tells a story, and if it tells the same one too often, people start paying attention. Cashiers, store clerks, and even neighbors might notice your routine purchases, especially if you're consistently hauling home large quantities of non-perishable foods, water containers, or hygiene products. In a world where most people shop week to week, that level of preparation stands out. It plants the idea that you're not just buying for convenience, you're stocking up for something. And once that idea forms, it spreads faster than you'd expect. This exposure risk doesn't mean you should stop buying what you need. It means you need to shop with tactical variety. The key is to blend your prepper habits into ordinary consumer behavior. Instead of purchasing 50 pounds of rice in one go, buy smaller portions over several trips. Rotate your stores, shop at different locations or online platforms to avoid forming recognizable patterns. Mix your emergency items with regular groceries so your purchases look balanced, not extreme. Timing also matters. Avoid shopping during peak hours when lines are long and people are watching. Late evenings or early mornings are quieter and draw less attention. If possible, use delivery services that offer discreet packaging. Finally, avoid bragging about deals or bulk buys. Casual remarks like, "I just got a year's worth of beans for cheap," might seem harmless, but they linger in people's minds. The less others know about your stockpile, the safer you are. In the end, your supply chain should be invisible. Every purchase you make should look like it belongs to someone living day to day, not decade to decade. The smartest preppers don't just stock wisely, they shop strategically, leaving no trail for anyone to follow. 10. The calm in the chaos. When your composure gives you away. When disaster hits, whether it's a blackout, storm, or food shortage, most people panic. They rush to stores, drain batteries, and scramble for help. But not preppers. You stay calm, collected, and confident because you've already prepared for exactly this moment. Ironically, that calmness, the very thing that keeps you safe, can also reveal you in small crises. People notice who's struggling and who isn't. When everyone's in the dark, fumbling for candles, and your home quietly glows with steady light, it sends a signal. When neighbors are fretting over empty shelves and you seem unfazed, it makes them wonder why, and that curiosity can turn dangerous during extended crises. People remember the calm ones, the ones who looked like they had everything under control. The challenge is to act prepared without appearing privileged. That means during minor emergencies, blend into the chaos just enough. If there's a power outage, don't illuminate your entire home. Use one dim light in a back room. If there's a food shortage, don't openly talk about how well-stocked you are. Instead, empathize with others' concerns. Express mild inconvenience, not relief. Another subtle mistake is offering too much help too soon. Generosity is admirable, but in survival situations, it can expose your strength and supplies. If you choose to help, do it quietly, in small gestures that don't draw attention to your resources. Prepping isn't just about physical readiness, it's about psychological awareness. You must understand how your behavior affects others' perceptions. In a fragile community, confidence can look like wealth, and preparedness can look like advantage. That's why every experienced prepper learns the art of emotional camouflage, staying calm without standing out. When times get tough, the goal isn't just to survive, it's to survive unnoticed. Let others think you're managing the same struggles they are. The more ordinary you appear, the safer your home, your supplies, and your family will remain. In survival, being visible invites risk, being invisible ensures longevity. So when chaos erupts and panic spreads, remember, the calmest person in the room is also the most watched. Stay composed, but never make it obvious that you're ready. In the world of preparedness, the biggest threat isn't always the disaster itself, it's being noticed for your readiness. Every small action, from what you buy to how you behave during a blackout, can quietly reveal that you're a prepper, and once your neighbors connect the dots, your carefully built stockpile turns from a safety net into a target. That's why the true art of prepping lies in discretion. It's not just about food, water, or gear. It's about operational silence. You must blend in, act ordinary, and avoid habits that draw attention. Prepping should never look like prepping, whether it's limiting what you say, varying where you shop, or controlling your reactions during crises. Every move you make should lead others to believe you're just another person riding out the storm. Because when chaos comes, invisibility becomes your strongest defense. The fewer people who know what you have, the safer you'll stay. Survival isn't about showing strength, it's about staying unnoticed until the danger passes. In the end, the smartest preppers don't just prepare for disasters, they prepare to disappear in plain sight.